Senator Grassley, welcome on board the AEM Manufacturing Express, and thank you for being on board with equipment manufacturing in Iowa.
And thank you for the association to highlight Iowa as the very first state to stop in.
Couldn't have picked a better state.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about the importance of equipment manufacturing in Pella, Iowa, in Marion County, and in the great state of Iowa.
Well, for instance, Pella is a perfect example of a community that's oriented towards manufacturing. A couple very good companies are located here. Vermeer's one of them. Also, Vermeer is an example of entrepreneurship. I don't know whether you know the history of this company, but a farmer before 1946, when this company was set up, decided that there's got to be an easier way to unload corn from the wagon that the corn picker filled up. And he invented a hydraulic lift to lift the truck up so the corn would run out the back end into the elevator into the corn crib. And that has brought you everything you see here now 76 years later. Gary Vermeer started this all by himself, and now the family's carrying it on.
Pella is quite the innovative powerhouse in Iowa. Now, all of this is obviously attributable to the ingenuity and the can-do spirit of the equipment manufacturers, but sometimes they do need a little bit of help. And so tell me a little bit about your work in Congress to strengthen equipment manufacturing and to bolster rural communities like Pella.
Well, I think the Tax Act of 2017 would be a perfect example. I used to be chairman of the Finance Committee, but after 6 years you give up a chairmanship, so I was still a member at that time that it passed. And what we were trying to accomplish is to make manufacturing competitive with our international competition. And when we had a 35% corporate tax, now 21, we were very uncompetitive because our tax laws were very egregiously bad against manufacturing. And not only passing that legislation has brought capital back to the United States, it's created jobs in the United States, investment, and most importantly, I don't know whether this would be true of manufacturing, but it was true of a lot of corporations. They would offshore to avoid the high tax rate we had in this country. And we have seen not only capital come back to the country, but we haven't had one offshoring of a company since we passed the 17 tax bill. And before then, they were just going to Ireland or some other country to avoid the taxes. So taxes do make a difference, and in manufacturing, is because of the capital intensity of it, it's a real big factor. And I think hopefully we have helped manufacturing a great deal through the 21% tax rate and keeping jobs in the United States.
Well, you certainly have, and we appreciate your steadfast support and leadership on behalf of the industry in Congress. What is the one word that comes to mind when you think of a community like Pella, Iowa, or the equipment manufacturing industry in Iowa?
2 words.
Sure.
Quality and productivity. I've had an opportunity to visit a lot of businesses in Iowa that have in other parts of the United States, they have plants, or maybe overseas. And I say, how does the productivity and quality of the Iowa worker shape up with the rest of the world? And they just say outstanding, commitment to job, commitment to company. And I think that commitment and the productivity and the quality that comes from it. So I usually end the question I get, like you, from other people by saying, some states put some words on their license plate about representing their state. I would put those 2 words, quality and productivity, on the Iowa license plate, because I think it describes the Iowa ethic, the Iowa work productivity, and the greatness of manufacturing in the United States. But I suppose what I'm talking about isn't just manufacturing, it's most jobs in the United States would fall into that. Most jobs in Iowa would fall under the quality productivity label.
We could not agree more with you, sir. We are on a 10,000-mile, 20-state, cross-country road trip with the AEM Manufacturing Express. So we will wrap this up with a couple of road trip-themed questions. So first off, your favorite road trip memory?
Well, you don't know this about Chuck Grassley, but for 43 years, I've gone to each one of the 99 counties to hold a county meeting with constituents at factories, open town meetings, high schools, everything to get opinions of people. So I've done that every year for 43 years, and this year I've been in, at the end of this week, I'll be in all but 21 of those 99 counties. So for me, the annual tour of Iowa is a road trip.
And a great one at that, sir. Favorite road trip snack?
Dairy Queen, Blizzard, Snickers Blizzard. How does that sound?
That sounds excellent. Final question. Favorite road trip song?
Well, listen, I don't even sing in church because I get tired of turning around people looking at me who's singing behind them. So I'm not much, I don't listen to a lot of music, but I listen to WHO radio in Des Moines to keep on top of agricultural issues, because Iowa is the number one agricultural state in the nation, or you wouldn't be here and you wouldn't be honoring all this Iowa manufacturing, Vermeer, and all the other places you've gone and places you haven't gone, like maybe John Deere's.
I think it's an excellent answer to that question, sir. Senator Grassley, thank you so much for everything that you do for our industry, and thank you for being on board with equipment manufacturing in Iowa.
Yeah, and I want to thank your association. You're very good representing your members on Capitol Hill, and I think you do the best job of getting your issues before Congress, because you don't send lobbyists to talk to us. You send your lobbyist gets back to Iowa and say, can you talk to Chuck Grassley about this or that issue? And that's just exactly what associations should do. Work up the grassroots on your issues, because that's what representative government's all about. It's from the grassroots up, not from the lobbyists up.
It's our great pleasure and honor. And thank you again, sir.
You bet. You bet.